Hey, it's Molly. Welcome back to my channel as we're going to discuss the Pisces lunar eclipse happening on August 28th, 2026, exact at 12:19 a.m. That's Eastern Time. So be sure and adjust for your location as this eclipse might be occurring for you on August 27th. This is our second eclipse in August, and it's very different than the Leo solar eclipse that we had on August 12th. This is a Pisces lunar eclipse occurring at 4 degrees of Pisces, 54 minutes in your chart. So we round up to 5 degrees of Pisces. That's where this full moon is illuminating something important that your intuition is picking up on and is giving you an instantaneous message that you are meant to trust and receive that could be quite shocking, debilitating, liberating. It could be something that knocks you off your feet and ultimately allows you to understand more of what is ready to change and shift in your life. Yes, it is that powerful. I'm going to break it down and go through more of this energy and why all of this is in play. But I do need to highlight that this particular Pisces lunar eclipse is, again, very different than the Leo total solar eclipse because these eclipses are not operating in the same astrological axis or pair. And that's because we are in a time where the nodes of fate have changed. The North Node is now in Aquarius. It is still conjunct the Pisces lunar eclipse, even though they're in different astrology signs. But this is a big clearing eclipse as well. And this eclipse has an energy cycle that will last for 1 year. 1 whole year, and I'm going to touch on why in this video as well. So let's break it down here, more of the specifics of the Pisces lunar eclipse. So you identify where you have 5 degrees of Pisces in your chart by house placement. You don't need to have any planets or points near this degree, but if you do, you are feeling these energies more strongly. And in fact, I would say that if you have planets or points at 29 degrees of Aquarius, all the way to 9 degrees of Pisces, even 10 degrees of Pisces in your chart, this is a personal lunar eclipse for you. It is more emotional. It's going to reveal what you have been holding and internalizing through those Piscean themes. It could, in fact, make you more sensitive. You could start to feel that more of your intuitive senses and abilities are alive. This is a highly activating Pisces lunar eclipse. It's activating all of us, but it's activating us at a subconscious hidden level where what you've been dreaming of, experiencing, figuring out, and feeling into in other realms comes front and center. This is also going to be an area of life where you have a lot of change. Every full moon lunar eclipse signifies where change is happening. And as I mentioned, this is change that's going to occur for you over the next year. So there is something that you are feeling here that is undeniable. The energy around it is going to be quite potent, even quite pure. A purifying energy could be felt that I'm sensing could also be a relief. You could have some kind of emotional validation or intuitive validation, especially with the heightened psychic activities that are occurring during this Pisces lunar eclipse. I feel that you could have a sense that you're looking around the veil, between the veil. The veil is gone. The veil has dropped. And you're seeing energies in a whole new light. They are now more vibrant and clear. And with that clarity comes some type of soul depth knowingness that you're feeling. And what's going to occur is that it's opening you up to what this North Node in Aquarius is directing you towards. a new vision, a new pathway, new choices. And it has the essence of feeling compelled to move in a new direction that you don't logically understand and you don't have all the information or all the details. As I say that and as I'm filming this video, my body is turning to the right and I'm feeling that sense of, it's like you just feel you have to move over here and move in this direction and you don't know why, because there's a steering. It's like this intuitive soul level steering that's happening with the full moon conjunct the north node, opening up new fated developments and pathways that now you could sense there's something here that is activating you beyond the mind, beyond analysis or linear planning. And again, it is quite pivotal and it feels like it's breaking you free from something you've always done. Now that's because on the other side of the chart, we have the Sun at 4 degrees of Virgo, 54 minutes, conjunct Mercury, also at 5 degrees of Virgo. They are conjunct. They are both opposing the moon. They are also both then conjunct the South Node in Leo, which is not on this chart, but is always opposite the North Node. And so there are revelations here around patterns, routines, and habits that have previously been very useful for you, and yet you could feel that you're no longer resonating with them. This could be something you've already been aware of, and you've had to stay the course with something. You've had to follow through, get the job done, keep showing up. But this energy makes it really uncomfortable to continue on doing something that your heart and soul is not aligned with. And yet it's in argument, it's in this internal wrestling with both the mind and body of Virgo. The Virgo energy is intellectual, methodical, concise. It values a process and a plan. This energy is disrupting your best laid plans. It signifies that what you thought you'd be doing for the rest of this year, for example, is going to drastically change. And in fact, the next year of your life is going to continue to evolve and change in whole new ways that you didn't plan. Now, at a daily level, which is what Virgo energy rules, Virgo is very responsible. It takes care of what needs to be done. This is where you're able to manage everything in front of you, organize it, make sure it's working, it's efficient, it looks good. Also throw things out, put it in the recycle bin, get rid of it if it's too excessive. That Virgo energy can really prioritize simplicity and zen. And yet this Pisces lunar eclipse is not going to bring that. It's going to feel disruptive to how you've lived your life and to what you've always had on your calendar. There's going to be greater instability, and you have to let go of what has always maybe worked or what you've relied on previously. This is also going to bring about changes in work, in what you do daily, weekly, monthly. Your routine is going to be disrupted, and you're going to have more things to remove and get rid of that are not paying off and that are not useful. Now, why am I saying that? I'm saying that because for the first time in your life, Uranus is now at 5 degrees of Gemini, squaring the moon, the full moon, and squaring this Sun and Virgo and Mercury in Virgo. And this is the big deal, volcanic shift in your everyday reality. This is going to disrupt your best laid plans and is going to require you to go with the flow of what is being removed that will be hard to grasp onto and to hold on to. This is like trying to keep a cloud in your fingertips. This is allowing the life changes to come in and show you something you didn't see before, and to give you new perspectives, new understandings, and new solutions that maybe you were not ready to understand. The Virgo energy can be highly focused on what's in front of you, the minutia, the details. This is what it is. This is what works. This is why we do it this way. And this Pisces lunar eclipse says not anymore. Not anymore. And so this is disrupting for the first time in your life these Virgo energies and these Pisces energies. It's sparking fast-moving, sudden changes to your daily routines, your work, your skill set. The Virgo energy is what you have done really well. It's excellence. You've worked for this. There's things you have invested in to be good at it, to improve it. And these things are changing. The skill set is changing. What is required is moving into all new territory. And this is saying goodbye to an area of your life that maybe you thought would always remain the same. But the Pisces full moon lunar eclipse is one of letting go and releasing the process, the plan, the objective, and not knowing why. And you could be mentally wrestling with it, like not having enough information, like why is this changing? Or where is this going? What do I do next? And there's a sense of, I don't know. And so the Pisces energy here can feel quite lost. There can be a sense of what do I focus on? What do I invest in? Where do I put my talents and my time and my skill set? And this is essentially a catalyst of growth that takes you out of the mundane of everyday life, jolts you into new ways of living your life that are more fast-paced and sudden. There can be more to do in a day that's overwhelming. How do I fit this in? How do I get this done? Do I even want to take all this on? There's a discomfort of what's being jostled here. And it's going to perhaps feel quite stressful. It can stir up anxiety, guilt. It's interesting because it feels like there's this internal mental wrestling of what you need to get done and prioritize, maybe not feeling like you don't have enough time for it all. The concept of time is changing. It's moving faster. The overwhelm and anxiety could be louder. And so in the mix here is we look at the strengths of all three of these signs and placements. And so we look at how the Virgo energy, which is practical, realistic, grounded, evidence-based, documents everything, has a process, has an order, is being required to change it up and integrate with new solutions that are faster moving and will take time to learn. The Gemini energy here is about what you're learning, studying, reading. The Uranus frequency makes it happen faster, gives you some quick understandings and solutions, but it challenges your mind and your mindset. And so you have to be willing to see it differently and to make a new approach here that is aligned with the times, and also take time, as all earth signs need. They need time to breathe, exhale, ground in, drop the shoulders, allow the jaw to release. And remember that this is leading you to a more efficient process that's going to work better, but you will have to be highly adaptable to all the changes that keep arriving. In fact, it could feel difficult to have a grasp on the changes because let's say you have something new you're practicing and implementing one week, it's going to change next week. It's going to change next month. So you have to remain in that state of, okay, this is what's working right now, and it's going to look different in 1 week or 1 month. This Uranus in Gemini is going to present options and choices. And it could feel like you're going back and forth mentally with what to choose, what to do, what works. And this requires fast moving choices and to trust what makes the most sense and what aligns for you quickly, to not be stuck in the overthinking, because mental fatigue is quite real here. But there's a sense of, okay, just go with it and test it, experiment. Also stay open to what you need to learn with all these rapid advancements, new technologies, new things coming through in our lives, to be aware of what stays in your mind and what goes. You don't have to take it all in. You don't have to read every article. You don't have to be overstimulated to the point of pure exhaustion. So where are you filtering out what is necessary and what is not, while also staying mentally engaged and allowing your brain to be open? So this would be the neuroplasticity of trying something new, having new routines, being open to something different, just going with it. This energy, it's sudden, fast moving, and it might not last forever, but there could be something over this next year that you recognize and realize, this is just the theme in my life right now. And it would take more energy to resist it than to just go with it. Then we come to the focal point of that Pisces full moon. And because it's an eclipse, eclipses bring change and they bring endings in Pisces. And these are endings that are timed for August. Endings of what is clearing out and being removed, because you are actually karmically done with it. And so there could be a sense of something collapsing because it no longer has energetic support. There are things that are meant to phase out and dissolve. There could be some kind of emotional turnover here that you recognize, I don't have to hold this anymore, or I don't have to absorb this ongoing experience, lesson, karmic event, whatever it is for you. There's a realization here of what you can remove yourself from and where you can set yourself free, which could be related to unconscious themes of servitude. And that is part of the Pisces and Virgo axis of where you contribute to something bigger than yourself to be of service, to support it, to help it. And this, of course, can be quite noble and wonderful. This is where your expertise shines. This is where you've done something that maybe has served you really well. But this is a big life transition. This is a big life change. We've never had Uranus at 5 degrees of Gemini, or I should say we haven't had it in 84 years. 84 years. So you could have this in your natal chart, which means it's your Uranus return, which means this is also a life-changing Pisces eclipse for you. But for most of the population, we haven't had this before. And so here you have an extra zap of sudden change in what you have to let go of, that you're no longer meant to pour energy into or serve or support. What are you supporting that is now expiring? What have you been working on and contributing to that is no longer good for you? Maybe it's no longer a passion. Maybe you've just felt that you've moved away from it and you're cutting cords from it. This could also be something that is arising as messages through your health and your physical body, because the Virgo and Pisces axis is also your health, physical health, spiritual health, emotional health, mental health. And there is a checking in here on how your daily energy is truly performing. If it's optimized, healthy, strong. If there are breakdowns, crashes, collapses that happen suddenly. There's some very direct energy that comes through because of this Pisces lunar eclipse that results in what you are complete with, what is over, what is done, what you're moving away from. Even though the mind could be against it because of your plans or because of what's already on the calendar. And so one of the themes with the strong mutable signs, Virgo, Gemini, and Pisces, are mutable signs which are adaptable, curious, intellectually aware, diverse, and open to possibilities. And so there's going to be the need to just stay on your feet, to stay adaptable to what you need to do today or this week, and to be in that state of lightness, like being light on your feet. You are now a ballerina. And even though it looks very graceful and beautiful, it is very difficult to be a ballerina and to embody that lightness. It takes a lot of strength. It takes a lot of skill. So there are areas of your life that are not going to be settled. They are not going to be calm and grounded and clear. They're going to be in a state of flux. And this is going to bring up how well you adapt to change. Now over here, we have this Chiron retrograde at 0 degrees of Taurus, making a trine to the planets in Virgo, while also sextiling this moon. And this is a calming influence that could be bringing you in to more self-awareness of the changes that would be good for you. Where when you slow down and you tune into your energy, there's a steadiness and a calm here that this Chiron has been introducing us to, since Chiron has been at 0 degrees of Taurus since June 19th. And I feel that there are answers in the stillness. I almost said there's stillness in the answers. That too. So there is something here that you've already seen, you've already connected with, that supports you. Chiron wants to guide us to alternative solutions. There is an unexpected path here that is opening up that feels soothing. I just feel this beautiful calming influence here with Chiron in Taurus, that there's something that basically calms the nervous system, which is going to be beautifully needed with all this strong Uranus in Gemini influence. But there's something that could be stabilizing you in the quiet moments when you're listening to what you are doing and why. So allow this Mercury conjunct the Sun in Virgo to be inquisitive. Why am I doing this? What is this for? Does this still serve me? Is this still good for my energy? Is this still what I want and how I want to spend my days? Allow this Mercury, who is strong in Virgo, to seek new understandings in the light of the full moon, which is illuminating what you've actually been feeling and holding, and perhaps like hiding under the rug, putting in the closet, not wanting others to see it. And yet something is evident and clear in the light of the Pisces full moon. And it's because of this full moon presence that the lunar eclipse brings about an intuitive shift, a shocking revelation, and a powerful insight that you can't deny. Now, we also have to note that this Sun and Mercury in Virgo are both receiving intense pressure from the two outermost planets of Pluto, 3 degrees of Aquarius, and Neptune, 3 degrees of Aries, both retrograde. They are both in conjunct this pairing of the Sun and Mercury. And so the in conjunct is shown by the two green lines here. See that sideways K that goes from Neptune to the Sun and Mercury, and the sideways K, the green line there? That's an in conjunct, which means that the energies are struggling to understand one another. They have a very different theme, expression, and need. They are not on the same page and they're trying to rectify it, but they can't. So there's a built-in tension. And when you have these two in conjuncts going to the same point, that is a finger of God. And so we have these outer planets that signify significant collective changes on the planet are happening in the energies of Aquarius and Aries, signifying greater independence, sovereignty, individuality, new beginnings, new starts, applying a pressure to these planets in the early degrees of Virgo, that finger of God again, signifying that there's something within these early Virgo energies that are being required to evolve through tension, discomfort, and even extreme stress. And it's applying these energies in a way, because it's an eclipse, that means, again, life-changing decisions are at hand. A pressure is being felt on the body, on the mind, through maybe even a daily endeavor, practice, or routine, that this needs to be upgraded, that there could be a sense of, I don't think I'm ready. What do I need to understand first? What do I need to learn first? What information do I need? Because the Virgo energy wants to mentally understand and have something figured out before it moves ahead. But look at all the pressure coming onto the Virgo planets. I mean, it's not just this finger of God, right? From Neptune and Pluto, it's the square from Uranus. And so in your chart, wherever you have early degrees of Virgo, if you have any planets or points, early degrees of Virgo, especially let's call it 0 to 6 degrees of Virgo, there is a lot of pressure, stress, and discomfort here that maybe you're holding through tension, worry, fear, that maybe is even feeling like it's paralyzing or numbing, because this is a very important evolutionary decision point. And the only way, not the only way, but the highest way out is through this moon in Pisces, which is to let go. To let go of even what you've been working on or working through, to let go of something that has been a comfort zone, to let go of an area of your life that is no longer syncing up with the new energies that are streaming in. Because these three outer planets, they're all in a positive aspect with each other. They're in a minor grand trine. They're excited about the new and where things are going. And it's onwards and upwards. And then there's a part of our energy that feels this shift and the uncertainty of it all. Even about, like, where do I fit in here? Where do the Virgo energies fit in? What skills do I need if everything is happening through AI and these new technologies? What do I bring to the table? Where do I get a job? What skills are needed? And again, going back to the health issue, it's listening to the body and how the body is holding any of these unconscious feelings or fears, and to be listening to what you need to take seriously. It's also, I would say, this Uranus and Gemini brings in more information and understanding quite rapidly. This would also be, get two opinions, right? If you need assistance with anything, that's one of the Gemini energies, is you get two approaches, two directions, two experts to give you feedback. So lots of tension here on the early degrees of Virgo. And then it's this moon in Pisces that's the way out. Not necessarily like an Irish goodbye or unhealthy escapism, but it's trusting the unknown and what you need to step away from, even before it makes sense, and move towards where your intuition has been guiding you and directing you, to trust what you need and to trust what feels good emotionally, spiritually, and energetically. And so it could be as simple as ensuring that you have an ongoing meditative process that calms the mind and brings you clarity on what is best for you now. So you can receive those downloads and those messages that are beautifully timed for right now. Now, do keep in mind that with this energy, it means that 3 areas of your life are experiencing this lunar eclipse. The full moon in Pisces is the main focal point. This is the spotlight, if you will, of where the changes are occurring. So in this example chart, it's in the 10th house. And then the other second area to look at is where you have the opposite placement in Virgo of the Sun and Mercury here in the 4th house. So these 2 houses are where the eclipse energies are being felt. And then the third area you need to look at is where you have 5 degrees of Gemini, which in this example chart is in the 12th house. And this is the area of life of new choices, rapid developments, unpredictable events occurring that intrude on your best laid plans and are being felt. So in this chart, again, it'd be the 10th, 4th, and 12th house that are the 3 houses impacted by this eclipse. But wait, there's more, because now we are going to get in our time machine and fast forward to February 2027, specifically February 20th, where we're going to have our next lunar eclipse that also works with all 3 planets. So in February 2027, there is a Virgo lunar eclipse at 2 degrees of Virgo. So that means the moon will be at 2 degrees of Virgo, the sun will be at 2 degrees of Pisces, and Uranus is going to be at 2 degrees of Gemini. So it's only 3 degrees away from all 3 of these points in your chart. And this is why these changes that are starting here in August 2026 last for a full year, because this is phase 1. And then in February, it's phase 2, working with all the same planets and points in your chart, these same 3 houses. Most likely these same 3 houses. And so that is phase 2 of these themes coming up in February. So whatever starts with this lunar eclipse for you, it is going to last into 2027, and it's going to change again in February. So again, think of February as phase 2 of these changes. And so that's why I want you to identify these 3 houses, because they are not going to be settled in your life for a while. Now, Uranus transits tend to last for a minimum of 9 months. That's when they can be the most intense, but they can also last for a year and a half. And so this goes back to being light on your feet, being flexible, open to choices and possibilities. This is where you will need to be managing your stress level. Any anxiety, guilt, or worry. Also, too much detachment from reality, too much escapism, or any kind of like an emotional downward spiral. I feel like the higher expression of this Pisces lunar eclipse is meant to set you free from things you're not meant to keep worrying about. When you get a new solution, you might be surprised at how it frees you from what you've been working so diligently on and what you've invested in, and you're opening up to a new way of life that's like, oh wow, this is easier than what I first anticipated or what I thought it would be. There could also be that understanding of, well, I wasn't ready for this change, but here it is. And it's happening now, and it's going to be happening quickly. And again, it happens again in February, phase 2. And so this is where whatever you are moving through, you might find that it's going to continue to change and evolve, and it isn't going to slow down until probably a year from now. If you have planets or points in these early degrees, again, of Virgo, Uranus, and Pisces, this is a life-changing year for you. And I mean year is in the next 12 months. From this August to next August, your life is going to be changing in ways you've never experienced before because of this Uranus here. These are fast, sudden changes that can be very exciting. Maybe you say yes to new opportunities quickly. You feel like finally this has developed for me or this has shown up. These can be positive manifestations, by the way. But this is a life-changing year because this energy is so strong and potent. And so that means you can have a new job, new career direction, new priorities in your work. If you have planets or points in the early degrees of Virgo, if you have planets or points in the early degrees of Pisces, maybe you are moving, finding a new home. Maybe there is something occurring with your family, your nuclear family, your immediate family. The moon energy there is also going to be opening up more of your spiritual growth and path. This could also bring up a loss or a change in something that you need to let go of that is very important. Again, life-changing. And then with this influence of Uranus and Gemini, there are fast-moving communications, dialogue, maybe areas of study and learning that become very intriguing to you. If you have planets or points in the early degrees of Gemini, there's fast-moving shifts here that affect your mental state and what you're interested in. Also, your daily life. I mean, I look at this energy and it just feels like there's going to be life-changing developments in how you experience your daily world that may feel chaotic at first because it's new and different. It's like it jolts you out of one reality and places you in a whole other version of it. Other things going on in this chart are centered around this Saturn. Saturn at 13 degrees of Aries retrograde is actually approaching a beautiful exact trine with this Jupiter, which is right here at 12 degrees of Leo, 53 minutes. As soon as this Jupiter gets to 13 degrees of Leo, they have their first exact trine. Now they're in trine right now, but they're in exact trine right after this lunar eclipse, and the trine lasts into early September. It's their first of 3 trines. They're going to have a second trine at 17 degrees of Leo, 17 degrees of Aries, and then a third trine at 27 of Aries and 27 of Leo. And so this is quite invigorating, creative energy that is being stabilized and used for long-term gain. And what you've been working on here throughout 2026 is going to have new levels of confidence, support, strength, and determination through a trine from this Jupiter in Leo that brings in the invitations, resources, and inspiration that works. That works. So this is fantastic. And I'll have a video for you here on YouTube soon talking about this. But this trine is supporting the new beginnings you've been working to establish. And even though this Saturn is retrograde, this is what you're doing behind the scenes or internally. And then Jupiter comes in with a yes. Yes, that's it. Here it is. This is what you need, a boost of confidence. And it helps you move forward and take a project to the next level. And then the other influence to mention is this Mars at 10 degrees of Cancer squaring this Saturn. And this Mars in Cancer is having to swim on his own and trust how he feels as he navigates through the unknown. And so this can be a Mars that is really in touch with his emotional body and what feels right for him. As he squares this Saturn, though, there's a sense of, I don't know if it's worth it. How much do I want it? And the energy level dips. It dips to a place of maybe giving up. But it's a passing feeling, especially since this Jupiter is in such an inspiring, positive conversation with Saturn and what is being developed. So it's quite the mix of energy. This Mars is in a separating trine from that moon in Pisces, which will ensure that emotions don't get stuck and that you're able to flow through what you're feeling. This Mars can also help you hear what you need and to move from that place of trusting yourself. So, quite the Pisces lunar eclipse here. A lot happening, a lot going on. This turned into a longer video than I expected, but so it is. So I hope this has assisted you in understanding what's coming up at the end of August, how this is basically phase 1 of changes that are occurring and are going to be quite powerful in 3 areas of your chart, especially if you have planets or points. In the early degrees of Virgo, early degrees of Gemini, early degrees of Pisces. And keep in mind that Uranus has these sudden changes that break things. So I'm just thinking about Uranus squaring the 2 planets in Virgo, which you could break a bone, you could hurt an arm, you could do something here that's a fracture. So please be safe. Please trust the body. Please slow down if you're in any situation where speed is involved, because there can be fast-moving injuries with this energy as well, which would then lead you into a state of rest. The moon in Pisces. So again, many ways to look at this and to understand the energies, but I hope this has helped you understand what's coming through with our Pisces lunar eclipse, the last eclipse of 2026. And as always, I'll be back here on my channel to share more with you about the Pisces lunar eclipse as well as the energies of each week. Thank you so much for joining me. Wishing you a beautiful day ahead, and I'll see you back here soon.